Today, we're making a traditional recipe with a local twist. We're making Bärlauch parathas. Now you're probably wondering, what's Bärlauch? Also known as wild garlic, Bärlauch is a wild relative of chives and is made up of long, stringy and tender leaves that have a spring oniony or garlicky aroma. This wild herb can be found in abundance here in Germany during early spring, and we decided to use it Punjabi style. And the outcome was so delicious, we like to call it India's answer to the internet famous Chinese chive pancakes. So let's get started. We can't wait to show you how to make these. To make these parathas, first of all, you're gonna need a leafy green herb. We're using wild garlic, but you can use any other herb that you like. This dish is traditionally made with methi or fenugreek leaves, but you can also use coriander or dill or even spinach and follow the same procedure. The flour traditionally used to make parathas is called atta, which is a stone milled whole wheat flour, but you can use any whole wheat flour that you've got lying around. Now, to bring the dough together, we're not going to use water. We're going to use cooked lentils. Now, typically, parathas like these would be made with leftover dal. So if you have dal that you made earlier lying around, that would be perfect for this recipe. But just in case, we're going to show you how to quickly make a simple dal that would not only make these parathas more delicious, but also softer and more nutritious. We're using 1/3 cup of masoor dal today, but you can use any other dal that you like chana dal or moong dal would also be perfect for this recipe. Rinse the dal under running water until the water runs clear, and then soak the lentils for at least 15 to 30 minutes. Drain the soaked lentils and add them to a heavy bottom pot. Add 1 cup of water, cover the lid, and cook for 20 minutes till the lentils are soft and cooked through. They should look something like this when you're done. Next, we're going to prepare the wild garlic. All you need to do is add the wild garlic or whatever herb you're using to a large pot. Turn the stove on medium-low heat and cover it with a lid. Here, we haven't added any oil or anything else to the pan. We're basically going to use the moisture from the greens to wilt them down. Keep a close eye on the pot and flip the greens once they're cooked on one side. We want to make sure that they cook evenly, but we don't want to overcook them. Once they've completely wilted, take them out of the pot and set them aside to cool down. While our herbs are cooling, we can start preparing our dough. We're using 200 grams of atta, to which, for flavoring, we're going to add half a teaspoon of carom seeds or ajwain. This is a spice known for its digestive properties that's commonly added to Indian flatbreads. Next, we're adding in a teaspoon of salt, followed by a teaspoon of ghee. But you can also use butter here instead. Mix well to ensure that the ajwain and the salt are evenly distributed in the flour, and then rub in the ghee into the flour with your fingers so that it's well incorporated. This helps ensure a more flaky paratha. Once the greens are cool enough to handle, finely chop them and then squeeze out all the excess moisture. Once you've squeezed the excess liquids from the greens, add them to the bowl with the flour mixture. In addition to the greens and the dal, we're also going to add 1 medium-sized onion finely chopped, as well as a couple of de-seeded green chilies, both for flavor. And of course, if you enjoy spicy food, you needn't de-seed the chilies. We're adding them primarily for flavor and not for heat, which is why we're de-seeding them here. And naturally, if you don't enjoy that added heat, you can leave the chilies out entirely. Now mix in all the vegetables that we just chopped and added to the flour mixture. And once everything is well distributed, go in with your liquid, which is the dal that we prepared earlier. This was around 1 cup, or 280 grams of cooked dal. Mix everything together with your fingers till all the moisture is well incorporated into the dough. No need to knead too much at this point. The idea is just to bring together the dough, and we're going to let it sit and rest to autolyse for around 15 minutes. This process of resting the dough before kneading it further helps the flour to better absorb the water content in the dal and makes the dough much easier to work with. Now the fun part, kneading the dough. You can of course use a stand mixer for all of this, but what's the fun in that? At this point, we're kneading the dough to further develop the gluten. I'm pushing the dough forward with the base of my palms and then folding it over with my fingertips. At this point, you'll probably need to add more flour, depending on how sticky your dough is. What we're trying to arrive at is a soft dough consistency that's not too sticky. So ideally, it shouldn't be sticking entirely to your counter. Now, how much flour you need to add depends a little bit on the kind of flour you're using, as well as how liquid your dal was. So don't shy away from adding in more flour to your dough if it's not coming together at this point. Once you're done, it should look something like this. Now give it a good pat, because your dough worked really hard. And now we're going to let it rest for another 15 minutes. This is going to make it much easier to roll it out. Now after 15 minutes, we're ready to turn this lovely ball of dough into individual parathas. So here I'm lightly flouring the dough and then portioning it into roughly 8 equal sized dough balls. If you've been enjoying this video, give it a like and let us know in the comments if you've ever had parathas before. If you haven't, then we definitely recommend that you give this recipe a go. Once you're done portioning the dough balls, or pedas as they're called in Punjabi, you can put them aside and cover them with a cloth so that they don't dry out and develop a skin. Now it's time to learn to roll the parathas out. Maybe you noticed earlier that they're not just a plain circle like a chapati or a roti. They have a triangular shape, and this is how we arrive at that shape. So the first step is to press down your dough ball and then generously cover it in flour on both sides. Then roll it out into a circular shape. Be generous with the sprinkling of flour, as it makes rolling much easier. Then apply some ghee on half of the paratha. We're going to be folding the paratha along this half to create some layers. This is going to make sure that the paratha is evenly cooked and more flaky. So fold in half and then repeat the process. So apply another thin layer of ghee on 1/4 of that paratha and then fold again. Now repeat the process of dipping it into some flour and rolling it out. It makes the rolling out process much easier to have a little pile of flour in the corner of your counter for easy dipping. To evenly roll out the paratha, I'm applying light pressure and then flipping it around and occasionally dipping in flour as needed. Once it's around 1/2 centimeter thick, you're good to go. And once you've rolled out all of your parathas, we're ready to cook. This recipe makes around 8 parathas. Heat up a pan, or ideally a cast iron skillet, on medium-high heat. With absolutely no oil on the pan, add in your paratha to the pan. Then, flip the cook side over after a minute or so and apply a thin layer of ghee to the cook side. When cooking parathas, normally you don't apply ghee to the pan itself, but only to the surface of the paratha. Now, we're going to flip the paratha and repeat the same process on the other side. So applying a thin layer of ghee and then flipping it again. So the process is, paratha goes in, flip, apply ghee, flip again, apply ghee, flip again. Confused? It's not as complicated as I made it sound. Once your parathas are golden brown and crisp on both sides, they're ready to eat. If you're making a big batch of parathas, we recommend storing them in some kitchen towels while you prepare the rest to keep them warm and fresh. And here you can see all of those lovely layers that we created earlier while folding and rolling out the dough. And finally, the time has come to enjoy these parathas. They're best served warm and fresh, and you can eat them with yogurt, your favorite achaar, or just with a good old dollop of ghee or butter. That's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to see more Indian recipes from our Berlin kitchen, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.